Yes, this is Peter Christian Hessing again, and I like to talk about, really changing the world. God created the world and the universe, and He sent Jesus here to save us, to give His life for us, so we could get everlasting life. God didn't want anybody to die, but as He says, it's the will of God that everybody should have everlasting life, and we should really live in a paradise. God intended us to live in a paradise. I like to talk about improving the world, making progress in the world. Um, we are living in the middle of a time of technological invention and technological innovation. And some people don't like to talk about revolution, but we're in the middle of a massive technological um, revolution where we have now the potential to completely eliminate poverty in the world. And it's a great time. We could be the first generation in a million or a billion years to completely eradicate poverty, hunger, starvation, unemployment, and a lot of sicknesses in the world. If you can imagine, it's a great, exciting time. We have so much technology. We have phones around the world. 6 billion people in the world now have telephones, and on those telephones they can access the internet, and we can create businesses. We can have bank accounts set up by them, where we are asking now the United Nations to have a UN resolution to create individual accounts for the 8 billion people in the world that people can access through their phones. What we want to create is a United Nations world scan, and we're seeking now the United Nations to have a resolution where you create a UN business license for all the poor peoples in the world, and to have the World Bank and the IMF and all the central banks and the Federal Reserves build a website, a business website for every human being, for at least the 5 billion or more people who are poor in the world. And they can access this website, and also to build a television, internet sales marketing system where people can sell products. And this means that nobody will be poor. By the click of your phone or your computer, you'll be able to have a business. Every child in the world will be able to have a trust business set up for them and managed by their parents. So no child would be poor. So we are in the middle of a massive technological innovation. And a lot of people might say, well, Peter, this is science fiction. But in reality, we have to modernize our governmental system, get the presidents. The president is dead. We have no President Obama, and soon we might have another president. We don't know who's going to be the next president. We're going to be Hillary Clinton or someone of the Republicans. But we are seeking now the Congress of the United States now to end poverty in America. We have nearly 50 million poor people in America, according to the U.S. Census Department. This is more than the population of nearly 180 countries in the world. And it's terrible that here in America we have 50 million poor people, people homeless and sleeping on the street. And we're asking the Congress to have a federal business license or a temporary business license where you would have low income incorporations. We have what you call incorporations. You need to start a business in America. You need to have you don't need to incorporate in whatever state you live in one of the 50 states. So these incorporations cost thousands of dollars, and this is why you have a lot of poor people in America. There are millions and billions of products that people in America could sell from all these big corporations. So we're asking now the Congress to create a temporary business license or a temporary low-income business incorporation, so that people who are poor and homeless in America can have this temporary low-income business incorporation and have a legal business, so we get away from the scams on the internet and so forth, and we can bring people out of poverty and don't have people sleeping in the street, homeless people. I worked as a social worker. We used to go around and take people off the streets. So we have to end homelessness and poverty and unemployment in America. No, we have the technology to do it. what we're really trying to also do is to create a scan code that you can scan into your phones, and you can be connected to a business application where you can actually set up a business, and you could have ATM cards where people get money from, whether it's the Federal Reserve or from the IMF or the World Bank or from whatever department in the United States or department in their country for social services. They have money for food, money for housing, money to invest in businesses, and for housing, for education, for health care, and we can issue actually 5 billion ATM cards now. That's what we should be doing. We have to modernize our economic and our banking system. The problems where we have poverty in the world is the fact that the World Bank and the IMF, which are good institutions, they do lend money to the poor governments, but they should have created individual accounts. The problem is that they don't have individual accounts for millions and billions of people. And now is the time that we have a technology that we can process millions and billions of information per second, per minute. So it's very simple now for us to create 5 billion business accounts, or 5 billion accounts, or 8 billion accounts for every human being in the world. So we're asking now the United Nations to modernize its systems and to create individual accounts for all the peoples of the world, instead of just giving the money out to these big corporations or giving the money to just the governments, but creating individual accounts where every person in the world will get assistance, and they can easily do that. And again, I want to put in another support for farmers here around the world, whether they're in America or Jamaica. There are some tomatoes that they grow to feed the world. We have to support them and help them come out of drought. We're having a drought in many parts of America and around the world. Farmers facing drought. Now we can have a 24/7 farming system to help people to farm and to help them to get out of drought, get better seeds, get better fertilizer. I want to support the farmers in Jamaica and Mexico and Africa and India and China, people growing rice and corn and wheat, people in Europe, Australia, and we must grow enough food so everybody has enough food. And as Jesus says, I'm the bread of life. Whoever believes will never hunger or thirst. And this is a time for all the people in the world, whether they're in Israel or in Gaza or Iran or Iraq or Afghanistan or Syria or Pakistan. We have to end these wars and stop the terrorism, and all the people, Christians and Muslims, Sunni and Shiites, and I call on all the people, whether they're with ISIS or the Taliban or Hezbollah or Hamas. Let all the people, Jews and Arabs, Christians and Muslims, get together and work for peace, and let us instantly end poverty in the world. The time is now. We have knowledge is ready. We have arms control. We can control all the weapons of the world and have peace. Give your hearts and love to Jesus. God bless. This is Peter Christian Hessing again. Peace and love. I'm taking another bite from my tomatoes here. Well, peace and love all the peoples in the world. God bless, and God wants us to live in peace. God bless.